sit down and relax. I want everybody to give a big round of applause to Beth Talbot. Not only for the great introduction, but for being an outstanding teacher. I love teachers. Two other people I want to acknowledge. First of all, congressional candidate Annie Custer is here. And my national co-chair back in 2008, one of my earliest supporters in New Hampshire, great guy, Paul Hope is here. All of you are here. Let me also say, by the way, thank you for returning Malia and Sasha safe and sound. They were up here for camp. They had a wonderful time, but their parents missed them a lot. So we were glad to get them back. You guys took good care of them while they were up here. Now, while they were at camp, there are no TVs in camp. But unless you've been able to hide your TV set or your cable is broken, you may be aware that there's a campaign going on right now. And part of the reason the campaign is so intense is because the choice we face in November could not be bigger. It's not just a choice between two candidates or two political parties. It is a choice between two fundamentally different visions about where to take the country. Two fundamentally different paths for America. And the decisions that you make, the direction you choose for us to walk in when you walk into that voting booth in November, it's going to have an impact not just on your lives, but it's going to have an impact on your kids and your grandkids and generations to come. Now, some of you were involved in 2008 when we came together. And the idea was that we need to restore the basic bargain that made this country great. The basic bargain that created the most prosperous economy that the world has ever known. And it's a simple bargain. It says, if you work hard, that work should be rewarded. It says that if you put in enough effort and you take seriously your responsibilities, you should be able to find a job that pays the bills. You should be able to afford a home you can call your own. You should have enough health care if you get sick. You should be able to retire with some dignity and some respect after a lifetime of labor. And most importantly, you should be able to give your kids the kind of education and opportunity. That's the American promise. That's the American dream. And we knew restoring it wouldn't be easy. That it would take more than 1 year or one term or even one president, because we had gone through a decade in which that promise was not being kept. We had seen a decade in which incomes and wages were going down even as the cost of everything from health care to college were going up.
Thank you, Mr. President, so they can hear it again.
We had seen a decade in which jobs were being shipped overseas, in which we took a surplus and turned it into a deficit, ran 2 wars on credit cards, all culminating in the worst financial crisis since the Great Depression. And middle-class families who were already getting hammered lost their jobs, lost their savings, some lost their homes. And the American dream seemed even further out of reach. So when I ran for office, I told you, there are no quick fixes, there are no easy solutions, but what I also insisted was that if we pull together, we have everything we need with the United States of America.
That's right.
Also, the American character has not changed. In fact, we saw during this crisis how people may have got knocked down, but they got right back up. People in their 50s, 60s lose their jobs, go back to school, they get retrained and find new. Small business people keeping their doors open, even if it meant them not taking a salary, because they understood their workers had families that were depending on them. We may have gone through tough times, but it turns out we're tougher than tough times. Big corporations and big banks, some of which we put in place to prevent another taxpayer-funded bailout. And if we do more tax cuts for the very wealthiest Americans, then somehow prosperity is going to rain down on all of us. That's their theory.
It's not raining.
The centerpiece of my opponent's entire economic plan is a new $5 trillion tax cut. A lot of it going to the wealthiest Americans. His new running mate, Congressman Ryan, he put forward a plan that would let Governor Romney pay less than 1% in taxes each year. Now, and here's the kicker. He expects you to pick up the tab. Governor Romney's tax plan, this is not my analysis now, this is the analysis of independent folks who analyze tax plans for a living. That's what they do. Their analysis showed that Governor Romney's tax plan would actually raise taxes on middle-class families with children by an average of $2,000